So remember on the previous page, if it wasn't a right triangle, I made it into two right triangles, filled in everything here, filled in everything here, used sine, cosine, and tan to do it, and then gave the final answer. And they're saying, there's got to be a better way. There is a better way. So I want you to do me a favor and highlight this, okay? They call this the law of sines. All right, why do they call it the law of sines? Because you're going to use sine to get the answer. So you're only going to use this way when it is not a right triangle, okay? You're going to use it when it's not a right triangle, and there's one little caveat. You're going to have a match between a side and an angle, okay? And let me explain what that means. If you look, angle C matches side C. So that would be considered a match. Let me zoom in a little bit more in case you can't see that. Side A matches angle A. That's a match. So let's do a couple examples and you guys can decide if it's a match or not a match, okay? So if I make a triangle and I go 3, 14 degrees, 10. And your job is to decide, is there a match or is there not? Well, if I was to call this A and B and C, if this is angle A, it opens up to side A. So look, angle A opens up to side A. See, it's almost like it's going to eat it. Okay? All right, let's look here. This side is this angle, because this opens up to it. And this angle opens to this side. So let me redraw, because some of you are like, Miss Rifkin, you colored it so weird, I can't tell. Okay, so let's look. This opens up to nothing, no match. This is nothing, and it opens up to a side, no match. This is an angle, and it opens up to a side, no match. So no, I can't use the law of sines. But what if it was a 3, a 10, and a 14? Oh, this angle opens up to this side. There's my match. I can do law of sines. I only need one match. What if I have this? 3, 10, 14. Do I have a match? Well, this opens up to this. Yes, I can do law of sines. Now, do I do law of sines if it's this? No. If it's this, I'm either going to do SOHCAHTOA or I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem. Because I can do that. With all right triangles, I can do the Pythagorean theorem and SOHCAHTOA. I only use this new thing if it's not a right triangle. So let's look here. Do I have a match? Well, this angle opens up to x, so no. And some of you go, I still don't get it. Watch. If you literally trace this, it opens up to this. It's the third one. So no. And then I look here. That, oh yeah, it literally opens up to the 4. And some of you go, it looks like it opens up to the angle. An angle doesn't match another angle. An angle matches a side. An angle cannot match another angle. Okay? So then, boom, I have a match. Okay? Now, if I have a match, which I guess I should have done in yellow because I'm doing this in yellow, so let's do yellow. Okay? So if I have a match, and I'll do this. That way it's like obnoxious. Then I can actually use the law of sines. So what I do is this. I go the sine, and it's always the angle. So it's always the sine of the angle. So the sine of 26 over 4. Don't put centimeters, okay? When you're calculating things, centimeters just gets in the way. Equals. Now, if you look over here, what do I have? An angle. Well, the angle always goes on top. So that means I go sine of 42. And then what's the match? X. So now I can find x. How do I find it? Make an x, multiply what touches. So the x touches the sine 26, and the 4 touches the sine 42. And now what's the goal? I want to solve for x. So what do? divide by sine 26, divide by sine 26. And now x equals. And now I'm going to pick up my calculator and put that in there. Give me a sec. So a couple things about Desmos. First thing is, if you just watch me input this and you don't practice doing it, during the quiz you're going to cry. So practice in Desmos, making sure you can make it look exactly like mine. So I inputted this into the calculator and I got negative 4.8. Anybody know what the issue is? Yeah. The issue is we're trying to find a side. Can sides be negative? No. Does that mean I make it positive? No. It means that this is a computer, and a computer is only as good as the person that's using it. Okay? I have to go and change my settings. Because we're dealing with degrees, we need to put it in degree mode. So we're going to get that little tool thing, and if you come down here and you put it in degree mode, it changes it. And now remember, I want you to round to the nearest hundredth, so that 5 makes it, instead of 10 cents, 11 cents. So x equals 611. And that's what they wanted. Okay? All right. Let's try the next one. So let's look here. Can I do SOHCAHTOA? Can I do Pythagorean theorem? No, because this is not a right triangle. So then what do I've got to do? I've got to see if there is a match. Okay? Well, this opens up to x. So that isn't a match. It does match, but I don't know what x is, so that's not going to help me. And then I look, oh look, this opens up to that. Aha! There's a match. The 28. I like circling it because then it's easier for my brain. That matches that. So now that I know that there is a match, boom, I can do this problem. The sine is always with the angle over 10 equals. Okay, now they gave me the angle for this one. So I'm going to go sine of 120 over x. What do? Make an x, multiply what touches. X sine 28 equals 10 sine 120. How do I solve for x? Divide by sine 28. And then I'm going to pause it, pick up my calculator, and get the answer. And I got 18.44. I know it's going to be in degree mode because I haven't done anything. But when you close out your calculator and then reopen it, it resets it back to radian mode. So you have to remember to change it to degree mode. Maybe you put a little star or something like that on the side, and you say degree mode. Okay, and you're like obnoxious about it. You color it in all different colors, or you get a sticky, or whatever I don't care. Make sure you don't forget that or you'll get the wrong answer. And some of you go, well, I'll know if it's not negative. No, you won't, because it's not always going to be negative. It just happened to be in that circumstance. So 18.45. And that's it. All right, let's turn the page. Okay. Now, let's see if we can... Oh, this is the homework. All right. Before we start the homework, though, I want to go over a different one that's similar to this one. Do we have time? We do. Okay. I want to give you a similar triangle where we have the 10, we have the 28 degrees, but instead, I'm going to tell you this is 13, and I want you to find x. Okay? So it's very similar to the previous one. Why? Because there's still a match. So if there's still a match, I'm going to go, and I know some of you are going to go, well, I don't care. Why is she going over this? Trust me, if you stop watching the video now, you're going to feel overwhelmed because you know I'm going to put one like this on the quiz. And then this time, I don't have the angle. So I'm going to go sine of x over 13. And now what do? I make an x and I multiply what touches. 13 sine 28 equals 10 sine x. Now, here's the deal. The sine is with the x. So I can't come over here and divide by 10 sine. Because you can't even put that in your calculator. They'd say sine of what? So what you would do is you would just divide by 10. So I'm going to pick up my calculator, and I'm going to do that right now. Okay. I don't feel like pausing it. And I guess the good thing is if you don't know how to use your calculator, you're watching me. Make sure it goes to the right, divided by 10. Okay? And I get 61. Let me just double check. It's in degree mode. See, 61 cents. So that means this is 61 cents. equals sine of x. Now, you have to get rid of the sign. I don't know if you remember this from last year, but this is like sine to the first power. Remember when you had f of x? How did you find the inverse? F inverse. So I'm going to take the inverse sine of this, and I'm going to go the inverse sine of this. This cancels x equals. And now I pick up my calculator, and I go function. See where it says inverse sine. Inverse sine of 0.61. And I get 37.59. So my degree is 37.59 degrees. Okay? So then I would know that this, so if I was to redraw my triangle, and I know this is 28 degrees, and this is 37.59 degrees, could I find the measure of this angle? Yeah. I could go 180 minus that plus that, and I would get that angle. And then that means I would have this side, and I would have this angle, and the only thing left would be this side. Can I do the Pythagorean theorem? No, you cannot do the Pythagorean theorem. It is not a right triangle. So what you would do this time, and let me show you. Okay, so that's 28 degrees, 37.59, 28 plus 37.59 minus 180, and I get 114.41. 114.41. Okay. Now I want this side. Okay. Use your match, which is sine of 28 over 10 equals. And now this is my other one. So I would go sine of 114.41 over x. And then what do I do? Make an x, multiply what touches. And then how do I solve? I divide by sine 28. I don't have to do any inverses here. And whatever this is in my calculator, that's the third side. I only do the inverse when I'm finding an angle. Okay, we will practice that more, but I wanted to just see it, okay? All right, let's go over the homework. So read it, figure it out. I don't want you to find the area of this. I want you to move the 30 degrees over, so the homework help is not going to help you, okay? And I want you to erase that, and I want you to use the law of sines, okay? This one, it looks like given that log x2 equals a, and log x5 equals b, log x7. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, I'm going to do letter A, and then you'll do the rest. So if you look, this is log x10. Well, I only have a 2 and a 5 and a 7. Well, I know, based on the law of logs, that when I add, let me zoom that in a little bit, it really means I multiply. Which is what this is. So that means my answer is, if this is A, like that, that's what I put in for A, so that's A, plus, and if I'm saying this is B, there's my B. So the answer is A plus B. Some of you go, what? Try it again, rewind it, and see if it makes a little bit of sense. You do have homework help, okay? This is definitely stepping it up. I really like that one for the quiz. That's a good one. Okay? All right. They want to know transformations. You guys know transformations. So what I need you to do is draw a rough sketch and then state the transformations. Okay? So you should know the shape based on how the parent function looks. Okay? All right? You know what? Actually, I also want you to name it. Okay? Also name it. So draw a rough sketch. It shouldn't take you very long. And then state the transformations and then name the type of